All right, I think we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, just sitting here drinking my morning coffee, looking sexy as hell as usual. And yeah, let's get a good coffee chat. We've had some good ones, and we've had a couple that were slow. They tend to pick up no matter what. It seems like if they start slow, they still seem to really pick up over time. So let's get in and get this done then. Man, had an eventful week. Had an eventful week. Debating putting up something kind of from my personal life or not on social media. Um, I don't know. Could be a good moral message for people. But yeah, I don't know. I'll think about it. I can sit on it for a moment. Some pictures. All right, nobody in the tubes yet. What's going on here? We're a minute deep. Let's. Did I make it public? I think that I did. Yeah, we're public. All right, give people a few minutes. They'll start trickling. I might be a few minutes earlier than people are used to. I don't know. Maybe, I suppose. I guess we'll see. All right. And yeah. I wonder what's going to happen if the Facebook picks up and those start really getting tons of questions. That'd be weird trying to tab back and forth as much. We'll see though. All right. We got nobody so far. There we go. Finally, I said that, and then viewers started trickling in. Hopefully, that trend continues. All right. Hopefully, it's a trend that continues here. I'll do a little posting in the meantime. Get some posting while we wait on people. These start off slow because I don't pick topics. I'm usually waking up still. I did do 2 client sheets already. Got 2 more to do. I got to do a client meeting today and then get his sheet updated. All right. Did it, get it up and going. There we go. Hit those likes. As soon as you guys get in, like and comment. Don't just lurk. It will get this into the algorithm faster, right? It'll get into the algorithm. I'm always shocked at how much smaller I look in the mornings fasted versus those afternoons carved up. Seriously, it looks like I have 2 more inches on my arms and the big veins in the afternoon. I got to cook some chicken breast today too. I'm gonna do some meat prep. Don't worry, I'll put up pictures of it. All my food goes up online. Whether people see it or not is a different topic. All right. Okay. Man, y'all are not lively at all. These eventually do kick off, even if they start off slow the first 10 minutes. Sooner or later, we end up with hundreds of views in here and we get 200, 300 questions. It takes time for it to reach people's feeds, doesn't it? It do take a moment. Right? It absolutely does. So we give everybody a little bit. It is pretty early. It is kind of early. That's a factor. But yeah, people will drop in and drop out because nothing's happening yet. But don't worry, it will. It will pick up with a little time. Because people know I do these every morning. That's where we get into some of the deeper, calmer chats. All right. Oh yeah. Sam, what time do you wake up and sleep? It's not set. I mean, estimates. I'm not going to tell you guys when I go to sleep. For obvious reasons, Sam. I got stalkers, and it would literally result in pizza deliveries 30 minutes after I go to sleep. So, needless to say, I get up very early and I go to bed early. But I don't have a set time. I don't have alarms or anything set. I tend to fall asleep fairly early, and I get up early. You know. But considering I've already got work done, you've seen social media posts, and it's 5:15. Right? I've obviously been up a little bit. You know. But I make my own schedule unless I have something scheduled that I have to do, a call or whatever. I mean, I'm an online coach and fitness content creator. How about you, Sam? What time do you go to bed? And get up? Sam, you didn't even hit like, man. There's no likes in your company. I sleep at around midnight and wake at 6. That's not ideal. That's going to affect your gains a little bit. You know, it's only 6 hours of sleep. How are you trying to get? How are you going to squat 500 pounds on 6 hours of sleep? Man, that's tough. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard balance between gains and other commitments, though, right? True. Well, I mean, how can we even fulfill our other commitments if our hormones are dysregulated from sleep? I'm not saying 6 is horrible, but it is. You know, 6 is not the minimum that we need to function. Not even about gains. Like, let's set gains aside. If you look at all the research we have on sleep, like 7 hours is actually, I believe, what scientists have determined is the bare minimum for correct function of your brain and your hormones. Doesn't mean it's optimal. It just means that's kind of your baseline for most people. You know? Just something to think about. Okay? Just sit on it. There we go. The views are just going to trickle up. You never know. These get really lively eventually. I run them a long time. I'm up early enough that I can run it a while. Honestly, these are probably better than just making another informative video sometimes. To put an extra 20 minutes in live. Right? In terms of outreach. I might want to get a topic from an afternoon one now. Today. Let's do a little stronger if we do that. What do you think, Sam? Well, as the views trickle up, we'll get people in. Robert Oster says, "Do we going to keep talking about this guy? Hey, music. Like, I and everyone else argued when he made that statement. Like, why are we still talking about that? This is 2025. So a strongman competitor got up and uttered this statement, which happens to be his worst lift. Like he's bad at the deadlift. So he already has a bias compared to other people in his sport. So he got up and uttered this statement. And all of us out here debunked him and told him, shut up, it was stupid, just stop. Tons of coaches, tons of other lifters just kind of laughed it off. And it should have been the end of it. How many years later are people still going to talk about this? Exactly like at Peppermint's. Are we still talking about this? Is 2025, dude. You might as well bring up the fake Merc thing that I did at this point. That's how relevant it is, man. No one cares. But a strong man who took his worst event that he was kind of weak at compared to others and got up and denounced it. And then everyone shut him down, told him quit being stupid. But then people are still going on with it. It's really ridiculous. I don't understand the risk to reward thing. That's what I don't get on the deadlift when people bring that up. So if someone's, I didn't know that. But that's what I mean. How would you even know about it? Meaning, why is anybody, like, how does anybody even remember that at this point? It was such a small commentary that everyone laughed off at the time. I even made a video laughing it off. But when someone tells me risk to reward on the deadlift, the only two possible things that pop in my head are you have piss poor form and don't want to learn how to perform basic lifts. Okay. They can't be bothered to learn basic form. Or two, are you a lazy fucking pussy? Like, that's the only two possible reasons for bringing up risk to reward. Because when has deadlifts been dangerous? If you're not on tren, if you're not blasting tren and anadrol, okay, let's throw those caveats in, and you know basic good form on the deadlift, why would it be dangerous? Right? So what risk? Like, where is the risk? Quit bending your elbows. Quit bouncing it off the floor. Done. Well, don't use bad form. TikTokers always does it. That's why they're obsessed with Mike Mentor still. Exactly. Yeah, it's 2025. They shouldn't even know the name Mike Mentor anymore. He has no significance. All right. Mentor was a good bodybuilder who went crazy, became a drug addict, and was a failed coach. Right? He failed as a coach. Therefore, you guys see where we're going. Why are we talking about his stuff at all? But they'll still do it. Doesn't mean he wasn't a great bodybuilder at the time, but what he did in the gym is not what he coached people with later. So really irrelevant. Right. Coach opinion on Dave Tate. Dave Tate's legit, great coach. Very, how do I put it? Dave Tate has insane amounts of experience and success as a coach. Very knowledgeable about getting people strong. I do need to check this. This is going to be, let me see what they put. Yep, cool. I already knew all this. Sorry, it's Sheriff's Deputy leaving me a voicemail. But I already had this info. Still, I appreciate it. Yep. All right, cool. All right, cool. No, I've already seen the vehicle in person. All right, good. All right. but I appreciate them updating me. All right. That's what I'm debating putting up. Hit that like for Coach. Tell him Peppermint. Tell him. But now, as far as Dave Tate, yeah, no, Dave Tate's a great coach. I don't really have anything bad to say about Dave Tate that I can think of. Right? Yeah. I know some people who hate him, but they're also kind of crazy. Without naming any names, someone who was on one of my podcasts I used to do hates Dave Tate. Right? Why did you change the flat foot? Okay. I'm not understanding. Let me think of the question. You asking why did I upgrade it? Like why did I put more parts on it? I wanted a full rack. Right? So I added to it. And I like the open base too. It lets you go a lot wider on stuff if you need to. If you're going to do speed boxes and stuff, having that open base was really useful. So I took that rack and I bought the upgrade kit to turn it into a full rack. And then I bought those extension arms so that it never tips. I don't have to bolt it down. Like you can't move it. Like it doesn't move when you walk 500 pounds in and out. It doesn't even move half an inch. So no, I wanted a full rack, so I upgraded the one that I had. That's the beauty with Rogue. They sell stuff where you can keep extending existing stuff, and they sell it as kits, right? I'm assuming by change you didn't know that I upgraded. Maybe you thought that I bought a different rack and got rid of the old one, which is not the case. Right? So, yep. Yeah. But yeah, as far as the deadlift thing, I don't understand this whole risk to reward. What's funny to me is that the same people who worry about, people will literally worry about deadlift risk, but they'll do preacher curls. Like, are you serious? Which one of these two exercises has torn more biceps off the bone? Preacher curl or the deadlift? This shouldn't be a hard one to figure out because it's not even close. They're not even in the same territory. I tore my hamstring 6 weeks ago on deadlift already, back to repping 220. I pulled my hamstring on deadlifts and I hit a 550 deadlift 10 days later. I put up the picture of the bruised leg too. My hamstrings are weak though. That was why. That's the one thing, and I realized again, that's why I had to add the reverse hypers back in. Man, I wish I could do deadlifts only, but I could feel that hamstring giving out. I don't even think it was a strength thing. So that pull that I missed yesterday, notice how fast it moved originally. I don't think it was a strength issue. I think my hamstring felt like it was giving out. So I just set it down. And I think it was psychological. Because I pulled my hamstring before when I did no posterior chain. When deadlifts were my only posterior chain movement is when I pulled that hamstring before. I wish I could do deadlifts on. They're just so good. I could, though. I'd have to do more volume, basically. Like if I came in and did volume, more sets with deficit deadlifts, I can get away with it. Mm-mm-mm. That would probably be viable. Yeah, sorry you tore your hamstring, but yeah, you're back to pulling. You know, right? But I think there's our risk. So let's talk about that. When you're using good form, does anybody tear biceps or hurt their back on deadlifts? No. Where do they get hurt? It's always the hamstring. But does that make the deadlift dangerous? No, because you can get hurt on any lift. Do we progressively overload or reverse hypers? I mean, good luck with that. I mean, in theory, you could, Scott, but here's the problem with the idea. Um, the amount of sheet we're doing. I would say just take them to fatigue. And I know this sounds counterintuitive, but it's on roller bearings. You're not going to notice the progressive overload. All that happens when you add weight is you cheat more. And because there is no way to do a reverse hyper strict. Like you'll swing on it and you'll get people who have no experience with a reverse hyper, or they got on one that was broke. Maybe the bearings were seized up, all right, because they weren't greased. They got rusty or something, right? And they're like, "Oh, you're cheating your swing." It's like, how can you not? You got to look at those people and ask that question, and they'll say that too. They'll do that. They'll be like, "We were just swinging," and it's like, or it's like, okay, smart ass, get on camera and demonstrate for me how to not swing. Let's see it. Let's go ahead. Let's do it. That's where you kind of go wish that they were in real life and you could lock them into a contract. Like, you know, if you're going to tell me not to swing, then we need to bet money. I want to have a financial wager before you go attempt it, right? Like $1,000 if you can put 100 pounds on it and not swing it, do 20 reps. Like do it super strict with a pause at the top, right? Scott, if you use one, you know what I'm talking about. You're already laughing. Like these people, they have no clue what they're talking about. They don't know how the device works. They've never been on one. They've never assembled one. They never put one together. They have no clue. And they say stupid stuff. And it's like, it's on a pendulum with roller bearings. It's not going to happen. Right. Maybe if you put 25 pounds on it, you know, you could probably pull it off. But let them put a full plate on each side and do it. Okay, maybe a full plate on each side. If they're an 800-pound deadlifter, they might be able to do it. Right? Maybe. That's a maybe. You know. But no, the problem progressively overloading it. You can, in theory, and I do it for some people for psychological reasons. But realistically, it's the nature of the machine. It just doesn't work that way. So you basically just have to go with fatigue on it. Wish I had one. Your back needs it, right? Yeah. You're a little slow in here this morning. What's up with that? Probably because I banned Green Pill. His little $2 supers used to like probably kick the algos up. I had to get rid of him though. There's a point where you just can't tolerate certain stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. will you ever? I mean, I go through and routinely unblock almost everybody sometimes if when I felt like it. But I mean, so I can't single people out. I like, how do I put that? If I go do a mass unblocking, it'll just take him out without me being able to single him out. It's too hard to find a person in one of those. Because you want blocks of like 50 people, and it'll get him out of there sooner or later. But he probably won't be on that account anymore. He probably made that account just for this. Right. But yeah. It's just shocking that people say things like that. Like, it just amazes me. And that's the crazy thing. It's like the people who throw that particular type of thing at me, it is very clearly projection. It's very clearly projection. Because keep in mind, the entirety of their evidence is trying to remix a video that I made in 2012 telling a guy to break up with his girlfriend because she was 4 years younger than him, and it made it illegal due to the age, right? I literally told him to break up with her, apologize to her family, and block her. And this somehow turned into a map thing, or somehow was a projection onto me. And I'm like, wow. Like, it was one of those, I was literally giving a warning to these 18 and 19-year-old guys to stay away from the underage girls. Like, was the whole point of the topic. Like, stay away from them, dudes. Like, I don't care. They've reached puberty, that you might be attracted to them. Run. Just run. Stay away. Right? Was pretty much my message. And it's scary because I'm just telling people basic biology. Exactly. It's the most vile lie ever said, considering your own personal story. And I mean, Peppermint, you have a biology background. I mean, do people not understand that's just basic biology? Like, what I said there is stuff that you would learn in university, right? You would learn this in university taking biology classes. It was a discussion of science. And that's what's fascinating to me, is that there are so many people. All right. That hard training put in. Yeah. Yeah. Nothing I said was even wrong in that. I mean, but that's the crazy thing. Like, I'm literally one of the people who has historically gone to bat against all this nonsense. Like, I'm literally the person who rebukes the silly red pill dudes. Because I think even in that one, that was a different time period. Like, even I had someone get mad, you got to remember the world we live in today. I'm like, but I didn't make that in the current climate we live in today. Like, they're missing the context for how long ago that video was made. There was none of these social topics we have with breast rooms or bathrooms or stuff like the Epstein stuff. Like, none of this exists. Like, these were not topics back then. Right? It was that long ago. But I'm the same one. Like, my whole point in that of I even rebutted against this idea, because you see some of the red pill guys throw stuff out there. I'll get to you in a minute, music. These red pill dudes, as they call it, will throw out stuff about, well, whatever, these men used to marry girls at this age. And I'm like, I've argued against that in that video, right? I literally argued against that yes, they did it, but that was a different time period. And it's actually bad for our society today. I'm like, those laws are in place for the betterment and protection of society. Like, they're good laws to put those age limits in, that you can't date or marry or have sex with, whatever. Doesn't matter that they're physically mature. It's an emotional maturity, a lack of education. It creates predatory behavior. And it's a problem. Right? Like, this is actually a social problem. This is a social menace. that it got spun in that direction. And it's like, you literally, yeah, it happens today and it's wrong. Yeah. I mean, to literally take someone who is given a whole lecture about why we need to strictly enforce age of consent laws for the betterment of society to prevent predatory behavior, and broke down a history of it, to spin that in the direction of that they're in favor. It's like, what? I literally was arguing against that they you can't. Music Saint Light, I see there are different types of hip thrusts, everything from barbell that sees there are different types of hip thrusts that go about by using different types of angles or machines. Is there any one specifically that will target the glutes more than the hamstrings? Good luck with that. I wish you good luck with trying to figure that one out, Music. I don't think that there's an answer to that. No. I think people get too obsessed with thinking that they're going to bias certain primary movers more than others on compound movements. So if we were going that general approach, if you were to look at the data for non-novice lifters, if you're going close to failure or close to a 1 rep max on a lift, is there any way to not get high rates of recruitment in all the muscles? No. These are novice situations. Like, once you have a high neural drive, you can't do it. Okay. And that's what people are forgetting in these conversations. Right. Which is why the lat pull down studies showed that 6 sets of lat pull downs to failure every week caused as much bicep growth as 6 sets of curls to failure. It was identical because they did them to failure. Like this idea of compound movements not growing all the muscles involved to a significant degree because you changed form only applies if you're staying really far from failure or you have a low neural drive. That's the only way this works. The second you start doing really, really hard sets, all that goes out the window. Does that make sense? So the only way you're going to achieve that, Music, is to find one that not only does it, but stay 5 reps from failure on every set. Like, you can't train hard. That's the only way to do it. So on a compound movement, the only way to significantly reduce hypertrophy of a muscle that you're trying not to grow is to find one that biases against it and stay 5 reps from failure. That's your only option. At which point now you're just goofing off in the gym. So my advice would be, don't do a compound movement. Like, if you have a muscle that you want to grow, but you don't want all the muscles involved to grow, and you still want to train hard, well, you're going to have to find an isolation movement. You're going to have to find something that isolates the muscle you want. Otherwise, the other muscles are going to grow. You can't avoid it. Right? You can't make them not grow. My question for you would become, why do you want small hamstrings? So I gave you the real answer, but my question is, why would you want to do something that dumb? You know, you're the same guy who asked about risk to reward on the deadlift. Having weak hamstrings is a great way to get hurt. How many injuries in sports and lifting are caused by weak hamstrings? A lot of them. Okay. Like weak hamstrings are an injury cause in a wide variety of sports applications. So my question is why are you trying to shrink your hamstrings knowing that? Right? Weak hamstrings cause yeah, absolutely. Causes ACL tears, all sorts of things. Knee injuries, yeah, a common contributor. Forgot to check Facebook for a bit. Not much happening there. I'm sure deep squats are good. They're not as sufficient though, Scott. They're not sufficient. Right? It's like saying conventional deadlifts are good for quads. There is some contribution. Sure, you can grow some quad from a conventional deadlift. Are you really going to get good quads from doing it? No, probably not. Right? So if deep squats were the only lower body movement you did, your hamstrings would become more anterior dominant. Your hamstrings would be weaker than your other, right? Your other things. So there's your answer. So if you wanted a glute exercise that de-emphasizes the hamstrings, an ass to grass squat. There's your solution. There's your solution. Right. Do you guys see my Facebook post I just made a little bit before this? I'm convinced vegans watch too many Disney movies about the little forest animals. No, just wanted to know if one could target the glutes a little more and use a hamstring builder like stiff leg deadlifts or something like that. Well, no, that's not how compound movements work, really. But I gave you the answer, the squat. The squat will do what you're trying to do. Okay. Music, if you only went off the evidence from the lab, what exercise would you conclude has the most potential for glute hypertrophy? Like, when must they been compared side by side? What exercise causes the most glute growth in the lab in trained lifters? The full squat. It beats the hip thrust by a small margin, a statistically significant margin, right? In women, at least, in trained women who could squat more than 100 kilos already. So they've been compared side by side, and the squats beat the hip thrust on glute growth. Any good way of knowing when you reach close to your genetic peak? No, it's not how it works. Hey, Sam, I did a whole video a week or two ago about the natural limit thing. There is no such thing. It's a moving target based upon training time. Meaning, when we throw out that 25 fat-free mass index, it's not because it's your natural limit. It's that it is such an extreme limit that 99.99% of the population can't reach it. Doesn't mean they can't keep getting closer. Right? I would suggest you don't think in terms of a genetic limit, though, because again, there's no such thing. You will make gains indefinitely until your hormone profile regresses to a point, or your injuries accumulate to a point to where you start to regress, or your nervous system will stop firing the upper threshold fibers. Right? Your fast twitch muscle fibers do not have a cap. Your fastest twitch fibers do not have a size cap. They will grow forever as long as you can recruit them, or until you no longer have the hormone profile to support their size due to test, growth hormone, everything else reducing with age. Okay. Problem is that growth is very small, and it's only a handful of your fibers keep growing. The issue is that due to training time and genetics, even a 24 drug-free fat mass is extreme. Right? Person with average genetics reaching a 24 is a very serious endeavor. Like 25 is pretty much God tier. I'm still unconvinced there's been a documented case of anyone reaching 25 or higher drug-free, because I don't agree with those formulas for the handful of guys that did in the drug-free era. I think they were fatter than the people are estimating. Yeah, they have to start very young, and that's the point. Like if you didn't start lifting till you were 21, good luck. Because we're dealing with the time, the years versus the diminished hormone profile. Let's just be fair. People who started lifting at 12 years old, got under a barbell, have an advantage over you big time. You will never catch them unless you flat out genetically are better. You have no chance. Yeah, you're running out of time the moment you turn 20. But yeah. People who start lifting at 21 will never reach a 24 and a half drug-free fat-free mass index. I don't give a shit how good your genetics are. It's a lack of time. What are your top hamstring builders? Anything that works a hamstring. Any form of hip hinge. That glute ham raise. I think good mornings work great. Reverse hypers, glute ham raises all work really well. Right. I remain very unconvinced that RDLs and stiff leg deadlifts are better for hamstrings over normal deadlifts. Particularly the amount of weight you have to use on an RDL anyways. Let's be realistic. It's not like when you're strong, you're not using monstrous weights on those too. Because let's be honest, you're not going to build massive hamstrings with 225 on the bar. As a man, a woman might, right? A woman doing sets of 10 with 225, a 120-pound girl will get pretty good hamstrings on an RDL. Sam, what's a reasonable? So yeah, 25 is in the same fat-free mass index. Just look at a calculator. What is a reasonable lifetime target for an average male? Anything over 23. You know. Keep in mind, there are guys with natural pro guards who are 23 and a half who are winning shows at the national level. What's the age? The earliest a male can start lifting? Most experts, like experts meaning medical experts who are into lifting, agree, assuming they've reached 10 or stage 4, around 8. But they have to have the ability to control the eccentric growth to do it safely. Is a 25 fat-free mass index of 15% reasonable? No. Reasonable for who? For Ronnie Coleman? So again, I'm not convinced we have any truly documented cases of drug-free 25s that are reasonably lean body fat. Average gym goer, yeah, no. Average genetics, no. Like those are targets that we talk about for people who started training at 12 years old, who are very genetically gifted. So, so let's talk about who is your target to try to reach a 25? What do you mean? There is an accurate method. It's called a DEXA scan. It's $100 a scan. It's very, very close to what we find in autopsies of cadavers. It's the most accurate method we have for measuring body fat currently. No, the calipers don't work. They're not useful. So, Marcelino, here's your target person. So if you were to say, hey, Jason, hand select a person to reach a 25 fat-free mass index. You find someone who's got really jacked parents, right? You're like, oh, dude, they're genetically gifted. Like, look at their dad, right? So you take someone who's got that top 1% to 2% genetics for muscle growth. You put them under a barbell at 12 years old. And you try to get there by age 40. I have a friend who's reached 24.7 drug-free, and it took him 30 years. He's a freak, absolute genetic freak. But he got his body fat scanned, and it plugged in at 24/7. Everyone accuses him of using shitloads of tren too. Absolute genetic freak. 550 squat reps, 315 on the bench. Pulls out in the 600s, right? Natural pro card. Earned his natural pro card over 15 years ago. My preference, you have nothing else more accurate. And you do understand the way that you manipulate DEXA scans. You can't manipulate everything on it. So essentially, if you're going to claim that DEXA scans can be manipulated, you can dehydrate and affect the lean body mass. You're not going to affect the fat mass on it. So essentially, if we're going to then say DEXA scans, which is literally the most accurate thing we have, if we point out that can be manipulated, then we need to just forget the idea of measuring body fat then, and there's no way to measure it. So there's no point in you even thinking about the percentage or the number then. Because if we're going to talk about we can manipulate literally the gold standard, the most accurate method, then just forget about the whole idea of body fat percentage at all. There's no point in even discussing it then. Now we're down to the only method is autopsy. All right. Yeah, the only other most accurate method is autopsy, because they can weigh all your tissues out on a scale. So they've done it with cadavers, you know. All right. Yeah, you can find everything. What's up? The ghost thing is kind of weird, to be honest, guys. It is kind of weird. All right. So yeah, dude, then I guess if we're gonna throw out DEXA scans, then there's no point in even discussing body fat percentage at all. We can just call people fat, lean, or ripped and leave it there. You know. Because you don't have anything. You have nothing then. You know? Oh, the goat's fine. The goat thing is really weird because it's very close to what my trolls call me. They have a hate name they've made for me that's very, very close to that. So it's just kind of weird. Yeah. Michael Roast, Paul Carter said I use a 4 to 8 double progression to triple your. I don't know what he means by the triple. You're going to have to ask Paul Carter to explain the triple your progressive overload. I have no clue where he came up with that. Hey, Sam. Yeah, on a DEXA scan, do you understand why? Because there's connective tissue in your fat. What's connective tissue made out of? Protein. So how is connective tissue through the fat you gain, the small amount that's in there? How does the DEXA scan read it? Reads it as protein. But again, is it going to matter when we're talking healthy body fats? If you're not fat, no, not gonna. I wouldn't sweat it. Right. Because people aren't bulking like that. So if you're having that conversation, Sam, we're talking dreamer bulk, unhealthy goofball bulks that no sane person recommends. Right. So your hypothetical is only really applying for people who do 30-pound bulks. I've said repeatedly, I'm not going to address that particular issue. That's not going to be, how do I put this? Taking a position on either side of that is a good way to get killed. People are so crazy about that topic that taking a position either way could get you murdered. I don't feel strongly enough about either side to be murdered or risk being canceled over. How's that sound? You know? Yeah, that's a political issue that is so hot. It's a lose-lose position. And having an opinion on it, if you're going to express it, you need to be pretty serious about having that. Like it needs to be, you're serious enough about it that you're willing to risk losing a lot. Either position, either side that you take. So I'm just staying out of that one. Right. That's probably the single most divisive political topic in the entire world today. That one. Right. And let's be fair. I don't live there. I don't know anyone who lives there. It's not part of my national situation. So, Carlos, I've said for weeks why I've been opening literal topics for Q&As on other stuff. I don't discuss my personal life though. Does that make sense? Like, I don't put my personal life in here really. I don't want it all over there. But yeah, but I'm not going to answer everything. I don't answer questions about economics because it's not my forte. Okay. Now I don't care about fitness community. I've said I'm going to discuss social and political events. Right. But I don't care about the fitness world. Like that's a topic I actually don't want to discuss. I don't give a single solitary flying fuck about any fitness influencer. I just want to pretend they don't exist and I'm the only one. Because I'm the only one that I listen to. I don't listen to any of them. So I don't care about them. I don't know who the hell Vegan Gains is. She doesn't even sound hot. So what do you think of Lily, whoever? I think that her first name is Lily. And her last name starts with a G. I'm trying to make sure you're not something phonetically or racial slur or something. You guys throw weird names out here to do that to me. And I'm going to predict that Lily is a woman. Am I close, Carlos? I can say that I have never thought about her before in my entire life because I've never heard the name. But why would I care? I mean, based means a million different things to different people. Everyone thinks that their position is based. To follow up with Sam, really appreciate you showing gravity of the situation even without taking a stance. Right? I mean, let's be realistic. That is a serious situation any way you break it down. And that's the problem, Sam. People have very, very, very heated opinions on that situation without understanding the insane degree of nuance. That entire situation is extremely complicated, extremely nuanced, with a lot of complicated history around it. So it's kind of one of those where I don't think people should even jump into that lightly. What do I think? Which set of, could you be specific? Why are we making that a topic at all? Let's be fair. Why in America is this all of a sudden a topic? It's not anywhere else in the world. Like this should not be a complicated political issue. People are illegally enter a country, being deported, should not be a topic of controversy. I don't care what country it is. Why have we made it a complicated topic? You know, like, no, really, why have we made this a complicated topic? And why do people turn it into a racist topic? I know, again, me living in Texas, keep in mind, Texas is majority Hispanic, right? In terms of largest ethnic group, who is the largest ethnic group where I live? Latino. They outnumber white people. And that's official statistics. That's the biggest demographic. I know tons of Hispanic people who want illegal immigrants deported. Right? Because they're here sometimes for many generations. They're here legally. This is for them their homeland as far as they're concerned. And these are people who come in that they're like, it doesn't matter they came from the same background. here illegally. They don't speak the language. They're not paying the same taxes, so on and so forth. They're like, no. And it creates problems. That's the issue. And then you have the drug trade, you have the trafficking. And I think that's an end of it that no one wants to address. When people jump on the other side, they'll say stuff like, they think that it's all about skin color or something. And I look at them and go, do you not know the sex trafficking issue? So if you were for open borders, you were for sex slaves. Like, you can't, that's very clear cut and dry. Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, I don't want sex slaves brought into the United States as property who have no records of being in the country, so they don't even exist. All right. You can't say that you're against that and for open borders, because they are hand in hand. And that's a problem. You know what? I personally think having sex slaves as minorities is racist. I personally think that's racist. How's that sound? All right. Are you team Jacob or Edward? Okay. Reword that in normal English. What are we talking about? Is this like soccer? What are you talking about? All right. Problems and sex trafficking in Central and South America. Yeah, it is. And it's bad. It's very pervasive where I live. It's extremely pervasive. It's from the movie Twilight. Oh, I'm straight. All right. Thoughts on H1? I don't know what that means, Marcinio. So, all right. Well, Marcinio, I'm going to have to look this up. H1B1B. What does this even mean? Wait, hold on. H1. I don't know. I have to research it further. All right. Question: why are you? Well, it's not only views and outreach, Carlos. It's a lot of stuff has changed in my personal life that I'm not going to go into. That it gives me certain freedoms to discuss different things. Right. So you're not going to get the why. To be fair, I have personal reasons in my personal life that allow me to affect my ability to do that. No, I'm not telling you, Carlos. I'd consider it for $50,000, but I need a ironclad contract. That's my price. Actually, $70,000. $70,000 is my price. To answer that one. I'm actually not joking. I'm 100% serious. I am dead serious with a motherfucking heart attack when I say that. I mean, I'll make it people's business for $70,000. No, it has nothing to do with government agencies. All right. So 70 grand, that's my price. No. There is no such thing as Illuminati. All right. What's the best way to protect hair loss when taking tests? I don't know. Inspired, I'm going to ask you a simple question. Like, all things considered, I appreciate that, Carol. I'm also on Facebook. All things considered, you see where I'm about to go with this. Do you think that I am the best person to ask about keeping your hair? Let me state that again. Do you think that I am a good person to ask about how to keep a luxurious full head of hair? Like, do I strike you as the best person to ask? You know, some men don't care about protecting their hair, they're better bald. I think the best way to protect your hair, if you're that serious about it, is to talk to your doctor about it. I think that because of the individual nuance of it, right? Then at that point, and so if you're talking drugs like that to even to protect hair that are going to affect things like alpha 5 reductase, you need to do that through your doctor. So that really isn't still the question for a gear guru, because there's a lot of individual genetic components. So I would go talk to your MD about it, right? Because I don't recommend you take a black market 5 alpha reductase inhibitor. If your hair is that important to you, you better get it through your doctor. And then they can keep your side effects in check and do blood work. H-1B1 is basically a $100K fee. Companies have to pay now to employ high-skilled immigrants as opposed to high-skilled. Interesting. So he's kind of doing it America first. Like, you're going to have to pay money if you don't want to use Americans. I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I can see the chain of logic, though. Right? I don't have an official opinion on it yet. I do see what he's trying to do, and there's merit to it. Whether it's the best choice or not, I can't answer that. I could see some problems with it. Yeah, Coach cracked me up there. Do you think I'm the best person to ask? Right? I mean, I'm just saying, dude. You know, I'm just saying. So like when I have the dudes come through here, I've had ones in the past, and I don't want to do a bunch of sex talk, but or talk about penors or like, Coach, do you have advice for whatever getting my penor bigger? I'm like, dude, I'm not over here trying to kill a bitch. Like, I don't need any, no. Like, what are you talking about? I'm not the person you want to ask. I have no concept of what it feels like to have a small penis. I can't relate. I don't know. Maybe you need to go talk to some dudes with small dicks and figure out what they did about it. I learn to use your tongue better. Well, it's probably a good idea anyways. You sound like, what are we talking about? Oh, they're talking about hair. We're seeing uni graduates working as waitresses. It had to be done. Yeah. Can you train your tongue for more stamina? Well, just practice, man. Just use it more. Right? You get bored. Oh, come on, man. Here's what I'm gonna say, man. Then if you're gonna talk about you get bored after 5 minutes, then you can't get upset if she gets bored after 5 minutes. You know? All right. Are you leaving Texas? Why would you think that, Carlos? Have I given you any indications? And why are you asking about my personal life? We come back over to I don't really discuss my personal life. I'm not even going to tell you where I'm going to eat lunch next week, let alone talk about moving. You know, yeah. Here's a general rule. Because it's very easy for people to throw all, I'm going to give you a tip. Are you ready? Anytime I discuss my future plans at all on the internet, it's always a lie. Why? Why would I do that? Because it's smart. Never tell people your plans. Ever. Ever. Always lie about your future plans. Any future plans that you have that another human being could have any ability to disrupt, you always put out false information. That is the only intelligent thing to do. So, make sense? Move in silence. I have legit haters. I want them to have wrong information. It's in my best interest. So yeah, Carlos, I was planning on moving to Colorado. That's the plan, man. I was thinking of moving up to Colorado, dude. There's this little town called Durango. I really like it. Right. In fact, I should start a whole series on that. And that way, then my haters can get distracted and start trying to get ready to attack Durango and figure out where I'm going to go. And they can waste 500 hours of their life researching Durango, Colorado. So yeah, man, that's the plan, dude. I'm gonna move to Durango, Colorado. Coach, are you a town or a city person? I'm a suburb person. Um, I get annoyed by people, so no, I'm generally happy. I was pretty upbeat in the afternoon ones lately. People notice that. I'm still waking up though, man. It's morning. We getting awake. Durango Unchained. Actually, that was Django Unchained, or just Django. Actually, it's spelled Django. All right. Yeah. I am inspired. I do get annoyed by things I consider dumb. Like I have a low tolerance for stupidity. In real life, I'm even worse. My friends are like, "Dude, might be sad cheering," but there you go. That's right. Inspired. Drop a super chat. That always cheers me up. You know, I'm way nicer on here than I am in person. You guys have no idea. Yeah, you really stuck with YouTube consistently for years. I have to give you credit for toughing out some tough times, bro. Right? My friends in person, they know, like if someone says something just really blitheringly stupid in front of me, they're like, here it comes. It's like they know what's about to happen, you know. Like we had what happened with a situation where this person is like, well, I personally can't eat chicken. Like, oh yeah, all right. Like, well, you ready? Well, because I'm allergic to steroids. They're like my brother was just like, oh my God, here it comes. He saw my face. He knew. He's just like he knew that I'm gonna lead him on at that point. It's like, oh really? Okay. You're well. This isn't my personal life, Carlos. This is simply telling a story. Did I give you any names or details or where it happened or when? You know, you have people really after you like 5 or 6 years. Hey, inspired. Why would you think that that's died down at all? You know. Hey, Carlos, it's not that complicated, man. It really isn't. In other words, Carlos, don't ask me who I'm married to or having sex with or where I go or where I hang out or where I'm going to be next week or what businesses I'm going. That's what we mean by, you know what I mean, dude? Yeah. Okay. Let me go check something. Peppermint's probably picked up on the vibe by now. Okay. Oh, you created the account today. Okay. Gotcha. Anyway, I banned him on his channel so it didn't cut the things out here. Why would anybody assume I'm not married? I don't discuss my personal life. You guys literally wouldn't know if I was married. You would have no clue. Um, yeah, caught a while back. Yeah. I didn't even think to check. He made the account today. This tells us everything we need to know. All right. That's all we need to know. This one's really slow. Uh, Everybody already knows this answer. Peppermint, could you answer the question to Music Saint Light? Could you type it out for him? All the regulars know this. My whole following knows this. I just don't feel like saying it twice a day. So I don't want to answer this question in every live stream. I'm going to limit it to answering it in one live stream a day. I think that's fair. I should only have to answer this question once per day, and I know I'm going to get asked 10 times tonight. So I'll let Peppermint answer it. All right. Would you take 15 million? I'd just go buy more. Do you know how many guns I could buy if I had $15 million, dude? Man. The question is the interim. That I'm going to have like several hours without any. I don't know how comfortable I'm going to be with that. All right. What do you mean, but hypothetical? No, that's not how this works. I could put a hit on the person who's trying to enforce the rule. No, dude, I would put a hit out on the people trying to enforce the rule, get the contract null and void, and I'd go buy some more. Because anyone who wants to disarm you needs to die, like by default, like just so that they're a truly evil Hitler level person. So I would take that money, get rid of them, have the contract nullified, and then go buy a shitload of guns. Yeah, no, dude, they got to go. I think that's the correct answer. All right. I would basically sleep on a bed of them at that point. Right? I'd live with the discomfort for at least one night just to do it at that point. All right. So Yes. Correct. I oppose all gun control. Yeah, all. I oppose background checks. I oppose carry license. Why? It's in the Bill of Rights. It's a guaranteed right of American citizens. No. Well, no, I don't disagree with training. You should go get training. That shouldn't be contingent upon it. So, using your same logic, you can't have freedom of speech without appropriate training and license and a background check. You're not allowed to have a lawyer represent you in court without passing the correct background check and training. That you don't even have a right to a speedy trial or a trial. Freedom of speech can't massacre a building. Are you sure about that? Hey, Inspired, I will ban the holy fuck out of you for being anti-gun in my stream. Let me be clear. I'm going to give you one warning. This is your last warning. I have a seething hatred of anti-firearm people. Like, that's the one group of people I actually hate. No other group of people on earth other than maybe pedophiles. I hate gun control. So you picked my one push button topic. You found the one topic that I hold that level of opinion on. Okay, we'll get the fuck out of here. And don't ever come back. Get out. Done. Good morning, Ryan. How you doing, dude? Yeah, I mean, people know that's my one topic. That is the one political topic I'm passionate about, that I am willing to die over. Like, I'll die on that hill. But why ask it? Since everyone knows that I hold that viewpoint on that topic, why jump into the debate? Like, what do you have to gain from it? You know? I'll throw someone out of my house over that one, and I have, by the way. Just so that people are clear, I have thrown someone out of my home before, a guest, over that sort of rhetoric. That's just how I feel about it. I told them, get the fuck out of my house. They're not welcome in my home. Not because they held the opinion, but because they expressed it in my house. Like, you can go express it out on the street. You can go hold a sign walking down the street. Right? You're not going to do it in my home that I paid for. Mm-mm. No, sir. Yeah. But I'm okay with them having the opinion. Like, I just don't want it in my house. I don't want to care to listen to it. I'm just not interested. It's not that they hold the opinion that's the problem. Oh, yeah, no, I said I oppose all gun control, and I know people are like, "Wow, that's how I feel." I think they should sell them in vending machines. Yeah. Why do I not? Because they unmonetize that stuff, and it puts my whole thing at risk. Yeah. The music. Notice I didn't start the conversation. keep in mind, it's not like I went out of my way to start the conversation. I answered a question. Is that fair? Again, I didn't raise the topic. So if I go post on the channel, I'm raising the topic. Then I'm inviting whatever debate, you know. I don't know, Francis, what age was your peak muscle? I don't know how to even answer that. Peak strength was definitely in my 20s, late 20s. But then I detrained when I got sick. So I've never quite reached it again. I've gotten close. Um, but muscle, I don't know how we're defining muscle. Muscle quality, you know, muscle density. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty dense at this point, especially the areas you see where I'm leaner. It's like I have a lot of density and striations there. Um, so I don't know. These are all different questions. So I can't pin that down to a given time. There's too many different ones. So my strongest was definitely around 27 or 28, though. That's I've only gotten within 90%, maybe a little more on some lifts of that. Like a lower body, I've got above 90% of it again, but bench, I haven't, because the best bench I've hit was 365. So, you know, in my 40s. Yeah. All right, guys, I think it's time to wind this down in the Facebook. My friends posted a funny post. I've done a whole video on that, Francis. That's a bit of a nuance. I did a whole video on my lifting history because I had to step back and think about it of serious lifting versus did we do a little bit in school? Yeah. Like, what's the first time I touched a weight? Like, my dad brought home a few weights and I played with for a couple of months. Or did we have a class? Or are you talking about when did I actually get as a serious endeavor where I started training every week? Well, those are like a decade apart. So actually started training early 20s. Yeah. Really early 20s. After I lost weight. Middle school, we took like a lifting class when I was in middle school. And I forgot about that till later. And it was, oh, yeah, we did. The coach brought all that stuff in. He brought and taught us some squatting and cleans and overhead pressing and bench. And we did it like once a week for a while, for a whole semester, those of us who wanted to do it. Does that count? I mean, so do we count? Does that count as start lifting? No, I didn't deadlifts. I didn't do any deadlifts till I've been training over a year. I started with the mid 400s. No, the power lifters watched me squat. They were watching me squat and they're like, yeah, man, how much do you deadlift? I go, I don't deadlift. So they drug me over to the platform. Like, we're going to learn to deadlift today. It was like 3 power lifters. Because they watched me do like 405 for a double on the squat. And they're like, will you deadlift? So they drug me over and taught me how to deadlift. I ended up pulling like 455 my first time. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wind this down, though. Love you guys. I'll talk to you next time.